talk about games, played by Ryan and Mike. A modern, a retro video game show. Yes, we talk about games and sometimes other stuff, like Star Trek. It's a blast, our gaming podcast.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Talk About Games. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Mike, also from Talk About Games. And today we're talking about games, and the two games we're talking about are
Pokémon Legends Arceus.
And I am going to be talking about Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. So let's start it off with, is it pronounced Pokemon?
Pokemon.
Oh,
Pokemans.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so let's talk about the Pokemans. So, there's a new Pokemon game on Switch. Unless you live under a rock, you know that this game is out, because I look at my Switch friends list and every single person is playing Pokemon.
I was at the store the other day and it's all over the shelves.
It's everywhere. Yeah. And, you know, this is an interesting release because this is like the biggest change in Pokemon since ever.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes me think, the first thing that makes me think is this what Pokemon is from now on? Or is this just a side thing and then we're going to go back to the way it was?
It probably depends how this game performs, and I feel like there's going to be people who are always going to want the classic formula Pokemon games, so I'm sure you'll see more classic formula ones later.
Right.
But even if this game's wildly successful, I'm sure they'll do some classic ones like later. But.
So they don't really do much to play with the Pokemon formula, but this time with the Switch, you know, the Switch was the first time that we saw Pokemon on a console on like a console. Mm-hmm. That you could play, where it's not just handheld. And I think the only reason that happened was because there's not a Nintendo handheld that isn't also a console right now. So on the Switch, they came out with Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, and you could see the influence of Pokemon Go on those games. And the way you caught the Pokemon, you could actually see them on the map, all of that. But Pokemon Legends Arceus is even more of a departure from the Pokemon formula, and I have so much here.
I just realized I thought it was called Pokemon Arceus.
Arceus,
but that's
a cowboy hat guy.
That's the guy I watch on Twitch.
Yeah, right.
Never mind.
By the way, Arceus is a really amazing speedrunning streamer. If you haven't seen him, check him out.
Yeah, I raid him sometimes, and he's great. He plays a lot of Ninja Gaiden and whatever. I'd totally recommend him. Check him out. Yeah.
So in this game, it's an open world. There's all these different zones you can go to. There's a main town, which is way different from Pokemon games where you're going on the routes between towns. There's no gyms. There's no badges. There's all new catching mechanics. And I think the new catching mechanics are the coolest thing about the game. You actually see the Pokemon on the map. Mm-hmm. You actually can kinetically throw Pokeballs at them without getting into combat.
Okay.
And then you have a chance to catch them. The chance is higher if you throw it from behind. Instead of finding the Pokemon in the grass, you hide in the grass and throw the Pokeballs at the Pokemon.
Okay.
And they're all over the map. There's alpha Pokemon, which are like really deadly ones, but you can catch them too.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the idea of all the maps have a noble Pokemon, which the game really...
What's that mean?
So the game really feels like the Legend of Zelda. You know, like modern Legend of Zelda games, you go to the Goron place, you go to the Zora place, you go to the different places, and there's like a boss that you fight.
Sure.
In this game...
That sounded more like you were talking about Ocarina of Time than modern,
or,
like Breath of the Wild.
Twilight Princess does that.
Sure.
You know.
The 3D Zeldas.
The 3D Zeldas.
Sure.
It's way more like that, where each zone is like, here's the water zone, here's the swamp, here's the grassland, you know, all of that. And you are, these Pokemon are enraged, and you actually fight them as your character, where you throw these bags of like soothing balm at them.
To what, calm them down? Kind of, and be able to catch them?
So you have to dodge their attacks. Like you have to do a roll to dodge. And it's like, it's way more exactly like the Legend of Zelda influence.
Okay.
Where you fight them. And then when they get stunned, then you throw your Pokemon in to fight them.
It's always like, you're like going to catch them with the Pokeball. Is it possible ever in any of these games just to like walk up to like a Psyduck and like grab them? Just like,
so it's funny. Pokemon that are easy to do that with, Ipom, Psyduck's not. Psyduck's like violent in this game. Like he's coming for you.
Maybe that's a bad example.
Right?
Yeah.
But Ipom's definitely one. Wurmple's definitely one. There's a Bidoof. You just walk up and throw the ball at him, like not even caring. And you'll catch them. The little bees, the little honeycomb bees are
But
like,
still, it's no, I mean, I guess this is like a general Pokemon question, not necessarily this game, but it's kind of like, I just think about, like, because there's Pokemon like plushes everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, and they're cute and everything.
Right.
Like in any of the games, you can't like just with your hand, like a trainer with the hands, like grab the Pokemon.
you gotta get them in the ball. Actually, what's funny
ball.
is the island that you're on has 3 clans on it: the Diamond Clan, the Pearl Clan, and the Ginkgo Guild. And the Ginkgo Guild are like the shopkeepers, but the Diamond Clan and the Pearl Clan are like, they don't use Pokeballs. They actually like befriend the Pokemon like naturally.
Okay.
And they have them. So when the Galaxy team, which is who you are, showed up, they're like, "Whoa, you guys use Pokeballs. It's crazy."
That's like new to them.
Yeah, like why are you doing that? Are you abusing these people? And then they find out that you're not abusing them. So the other thing that's different about this game is you're actually a hero. Where all the Pokemon games, maybe you become a hero, I guess. Maybe you stop Team Rocket a little or one of the other teams. But in this game, you literally fell out of a void in the sky, and they're like, you're the hero.
Right.
Because nobody can catch Pokemon like you.
Sure.
You're awesome.
So you're not just like a kid that's in a house and then all
yeah,
like that you see in all the other
I
games.
was telling people around the office, this is the first time I played a Pokemon game where I don't feel like I'm just like a kid who was on spring break.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
it always seems like a summer vacation kind of thing, and I feel like that's what they were going for back then, though.
Right, but in this one, it's like Pokemon are dangerous.
Right.
The Galaxy team, when the game starts, don't have Pokemon. They don't really know much about catching them. They're scared of them. Everybody's like, you got to fear and respect Pokemon. There's one quest where you get so there's rideables in it. You get like a fast travel mount. You get one that could search for things. And
there's like one in water.
You get a water one, right? Right before you get the water one, they're like, there's a Cyclops Pokemon in it, but it's really scary. I don't want to get near it.
Yeah.
And then we just walk up and we're like, got it.
Right.
Right? So you feel really powerful in this game. The other thing that kind of scared, like, I want future Pokemon games to be like this game.
Yeah.
And one of the things that scares me is this game doesn't have its own set of starters.
Because haven't there been enough of the classic style Pokemon games? Like, how the fuck many like classic style Pokemon games have there been?
Not only that, but we have Leaf Green and Fire Red, which is just the originals again on Game Boy Advance.
And people for a long time had always made that, argument with Zelda, because there had been so many Zelda games where it's like, how many times can you do the same thing like over and over and over? And it's true. And I do feel like with Breath of the Wild, they really did change up Zelda a lot. So it's kind of like you can't really say that anymore.
But it's even worse because in Pokemon, like I said, Fire Red, Leaf Green, exactly the same as Gen 1. Heart Gold and Soul Silver, exactly the same as Gen 2. And I even think they just recently re-released Black and White again. So not only do we have where it's the same thing over and over again, we have where it's literally the same thing.
Like the remakes of
They're remakes.
Yeah.
Right? Which is crazy. But, this game does not have its own set of starters. Which is scary because this is how I want to play Pokemon from now on. The starters are Cyndaquil, which is fire, and that's from Gen 2, which is silver and gold. You have Oshawott, which is from Gen 5, which is, I don't know. Oh, black and white.
Okay.
And then Rowlet, which is from Gen 7, which is Sun and Moon.
I like you pulling that all from memory. It's good.
You know what? I wrote it here, and I did.
You have it written down,
but I didn't remember I wrote it.
Okay.
So I'm like, what is it? But I did write it here. Anyway, So you have all these different ones. But you know, it's similar to most Pokemons where there's like a fire, a water, and a grass starter. The starters are really important. They kind of have the rival mechanic in that you have a companion who you fight against sometime, but the battles are really easy.
Okay.
And like if you pick a boy, it'll be a girl. And if you pick a girl, the companion will be a boy.
I noticed in this game, and I think one of the ones that came previous, like semi-recent, what was the last one? Like the shield one?
Yeah.
Sword and Shield. My thing with the older Pokemon games is I'm not like totally obsessed with the franchise, so I don't I mean I like Pokemon and stuff, but I don't get like as deep into it as some people get. And I always would have trouble with remembering a lot of like, what hurts water? Is it fire or is it like lightning and thunder and stuff? Is it this? Is that? Like, I don't know.
Grass and electric.
Right. Like, I don't know all the types and all the, I don't know all that stuff.
Yeah.
So what I found in the last couple of games, what they've been doing is there's more stuff in the menus that kind of help you know what to choose. And I like that because I need that help because I don't have it all memorized. Because I didn't, like Pokemon was around, but like I didn't like really grow up playing them, so that's not all intuitive to me because I didn't play them.
So this game also introduces the concept of adding types to Pokemon. As you talk to these noble Pokemon and you get the new rideable mounts, you get these slabs that allow you to add typing to Pokemon that don't have those types. So, and the alpha Pokemon may have typing that's different from the type that those Pokemon normally have.
And those are the really strong ones that are angry.
Yes.
Okay.
So, in that case, knowing what a Pokemon's weaknesses are when it's Ghost Fire, like, I might know what Ghost is weak against, and I may know what Fire is weak against. But Ghost Fire, I may not be so up on that.
Right.
So the fact when I'm changing Pokemon that I can see all the attacks, that's really useful because there's some weird types that are like, what is it weak against?
Because that's where I would kind of get stuck with these games.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And as long as you don't get it wrong, and here's the secret.
Okay.
As long as you don't get it wrong all the way, like you get
a part of it right.
You get it like. You don't put out like the worst choice. Mm-hmm. Like if it's grass and you put out steel. Okay. Well, that's going to be fine because grass,
it's not the best choice, but it'll do okay.
It'll do okay. Right. But if you put out, if it's flying and you put out bug, well, you're dead. Mm-hmm. Right? Because flying is going to eat your bug.
Okay. See, I don't even know that. So,
right? Yeah. Because like all the flying, they're like birds, and what do birds eat? They eat bugs.
Right,
so you start thinking about like these devices,
right? But then there's weird stuff where it's like it doesn't necessarily make sense in real life, like psychic. It's like that's not.
So psychic is weak against dark because those are like evil thoughts.
Okay.
Right. So and physical is weak against psychic and flying because it can't punch up.
Right.
But it can't. It also. Like, it's like dumb energy, right? But psychic is weak against bug because bugs are stupid, right?
So there's like a thought process
right?
to all of it.
So you're thinking about those things. I want to go back to Zelda a little bit. Okay, so there are collectibles in this game that feel very Ocarina of Time. There are motes, which motes are like these purple things, and I liken them to like the pose.
Okay.
Right? And then there are...
I thought you were going to go with the moat around Hyrule Castle.
Like MOTES, yeah. And then there's unknowns, which are the unknown Pokemon that are the letters. By the way, I love going to gaming conventions and like you go to PAX and there's P, A, and X unknowns floating around the convention center. I think that's kind of fun.
Okay.
But the unknowns are like the gold Skulltulas.
Okay.
Like, because they're like a creature that you have to catch.
And they're like collectible.
Yeah. So there's collectibles everywhere, which is really neat. But there's so many new systems in this game that, it's going to keep people busy for a really long time. So there's the new leveling system. One of the things I hated the most about Pokemon was the IVs, the EVs, and the eggs. Mm-hmm. So you want to fight against somebody in Pokemon, you better, cheat and get a perfect Pokemon from somewhere.
Yeah.
Or be prepared to play for hours and hours and hours breeding the Pokemon to get the right move set, to get the right stats.
I feel like if you're gonna play any of these games, like it has to be like pretty much the only game or one of two games maybe that you're playing, and you have to like dump. It's like a huge time sink, and that's one of the things that's always, especially with the more modern ones, been rough for me to get into Pokemon, because it's like how much you have to really put a lot of time into these games.
You do.
Like how much time.
For this episode,
for this game, like, isn't this like an almost like people could play this game for years and
I think so.
Be fine and things.
So for this episode, I played 14 and a half hours of this game to prepare for this episode.
And I'd like to say that that's about the same amount of time. I've done 2 streams of my Temple of Doom so far, and that's going to be my game that I'm going to be talking about coming up in a little bit. That's about the same amount of time that I've put into playing that. And it's funny to me because people see me stream that, but they don't see you when you play that. So you're putting in just as much gameplay time as I am, but just not on camera.
Right.
Yeah.
So 14 and a half hours, and I only have 3 of the worlds unlocked. I only have 3 of the rideables. I have about level 35
And
Pokemon.
Do you even feel like you're anywhere in the game yet?
I feel like I'm like just starting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I've
that's what I'm
traded
talking
with
about.
people in the office
Right.
to get different things. Like it's been pretty crazy. But the new leveling system is the best part of it, because now you can use dust to upgrade the base stats of your Pokemon. So instead of having to do eggs and breeding and catching a million Pokemon to get the right one, now you can build the right one by having the right items. So that's like way less of a grind.
Okay.
The new Pokedex system isn't like see it and catch it. Now there's like quests for every single Pokemon, and some of them are like in-game events, not just catch a bunch, kill a bunch, see them do different moves. Like with Bidoof, it's like do this quest in the town about Bidoofs. With Silcoon and the 2 like caterpillar Wurmple's 2 forms. It's like find out why they're different. So you have to have both of them. It's cool that they have those different quests that you have to do for them.
From playing this game, the 14 hours that you played it so far, what's your favorite thing that this game has that previous games don't have?
The gigantic open world and finding all the Pokemon in the world, collecting items and crafting. Because the money system in Pokemon is broken. Because you got to do all these trainer battles. It's annoying. You got to go to the casino. You got to do all these things. It's like, I have found Pokemon to be so annoying. I love the combat. I love the Pokemon. I hated the eggs. I hated the money. I hated the trainer battles.
Yeah.
And we played Temtem on this show, and I'm like, oh, Temtem made things better. I am never, ever going to play Temtem again.
Because this was way better.
Because this is so much better.
Yeah.
It's not even funny. Like, it was like a question asked and answered when it came to, I'm sick of Pokemon. I'm sick of this. It's like, oh, let's go Pikachu. It's a little better, but it's a baby game.
So is Temtem like the answer for like a little bit? And now that this is out, it's like, forget it.
It's like, I've said this on the show, like the thing, like the Apple thing. It's like, are you going to give somebody what they want or give somebody something they never knew they wanted? Temtem like tried to give you something you wanted. This is like, I never knew I wanted. This is like, it's a difference. Temtem's just an MP3 player. This is an iPod, right? I mean, this game is a home run. Like on the Switch, like Animal Crossing didn't get me. Breath of the Wild is a great game, but it's not my favorite Zelda game. This is my favorite Pokemon game. Full stop. My favorite.
That's crazy. Of all the Pokemon
right?
games.
We're talking red, blue, gold,
no, wait
silver.
a second. Wait, though. Are you...
No.
Are you
no.
just... Wait, just let me say... Are you just hyped of this because it's brand new and you're like really into it right now? Will you? Because this is what happens to me with movies sometimes.
Yeah.
I go into a movie and I watch it for the first time and I'm like excited because it's like the first time I've seen it, and then I come out of it and I'm like, yeah, I kind of like that. And then I have time to think about it. Like a month goes by, a year goes by, and then I'm like, oh wait, I didn't like that movie at all. That happens to me a lot.
Not even close.
So you don't think it's like that?
It's not even close.
Okay.
I never want to go back to these stupid caves and these stupid trainer battles and these stupid gym badges and the stupid money, and there's so many things that are stupid, stupid, do with the at the Poke Center and all this. No, never again.
Yeah, what I fucking hate is when you have to heal the Pokemon and then the six thing, you got to put them in there and it takes so much time.
Yeah.
Like, how does this game fix that?
Oh, let me tell you. So there are camps around the map where you're like, I want to heal my Pokemon. Boop, they're healed. But in addition to that, every time you're doing the story, you're going through the story, you fight this big battle. Like the NPC that's talking to you is like, oh, I'm going to heal your Pokemon now.
While that's going on.
Right? So you're never, like, if you're going through the story, they're constantly healing
okay, that's good.
your guys.
That's a big improvement.
Oh, yeah.
You said one of the things that you like about this that the previous games didn't have is the crafting as well. Can you tell me about the crafting?
So all over the map, there are items that you can pick up. There are trees and rocks that your Pokemon can break. And there are, as you level up, you get different recipes. Plus, there's a place where you can buy recipes. So you're getting all these items. And also, recommendation for anyone playing, you should dump a lot of your money into upgrading the number of slots you have in your inventory. Because the inventory slots in this game are everything, because you want to be out there collecting things. You don't want to be out there not collecting things, but still fighting.
So it's like a bag upgrade? Or
yeah, so it's funny. The way they handle the bag upgrades is there's this like neatness expert who's like, I'm going to show you how to organize your bag better.
Right.
And like you keep talking to him, it's like, oh, for $500, I'll show you how to organize it a little better. Now I'm like to the point where it's like, for $6,000, we're going to organize it a little more.
Yeah.
Like at the end of this, I'm going to be the most well-organized person ever.
Wait, organizing, but is he giving you more space though?
Yes.
Okay.
But he's like, I'm going to show you how to like, the way he says it.
He's like, organize it, but really...
You buy a slot.
You're buying
what
slots.
you're doing is you're buying slots.
Okay.
But he's like, yeah, we're going to...
That's not organizing. That's like upgrading.
Making it bigger. Right.
Yeah.
But the way he explains it is like, oh, you're going to be able to fit more if we just show you how to...
Reorganize
it a little bit, right? But I've done it like 10 times. So like how
organized can it fucking be?
Like my bag's like twice as big.
You're right.
Right?
Yeah. That's funny.
It's funny, like this new gameplay allows the Pokemon to have so much more personality. Because like a Bidoof will run from you, but a Geodude will try to freaking kill you, right? Like there's a lot of Pokemon like playing Pokemon. I never thought of like a Drifloon as like something that would like be after me,
right? But it is.
But they like. They cast like ominous wind, and like the way they captured all the spells, like when like somebody does gust, like it wraps around the Pokemon and you got to dodge it.
Yeah.
Like it's like a shooter.
Yeah.
Like there's so many different ways, and like sneaking up on Pokemon is cool. The other thing is anybody in your party gets experience, just like the XP share.
Yeah.
But it's just on by default. It's not like an item that you need to have for them to share XP.
Yeah.
Which is cool. They added move mastery, where there's swift style and strong style versions of the move once they become masters. So let's say you have an enemy that you could just kill in one hit if you had a little more power. Mm-hmm. Strong style, which is a slower attack, but it hits harder.
Okay.
Let's say that you are fighting an enemy that you want to get a lot of quick attacks so you can catch them. We're going to do swift style. It's just really cool that you can do that. Also, you level up yourself, not through getting badges, but through doing things in the world, like catching Pokemon and filling out the Pokedex.
How do you feel about this game's graphics?
This game looks like shit on a TV.
Have you played it on more than one TV?
Yes.
Okay.
But it looks like complete and utter shit on a TV. Not even... no comment. Like
So you need to play it on the handheld.
Like it's like very aliased, very low res, very like what is happening.
Yeah.
Where it's you play it on the OLED and you're like, wow, this looks great.
Yeah.
You know? But I do have to say that I think the Switch, and I know you're not a handheld gamer.
Yeah.
But like,
well, I like the games. I just don't like to play it handheld.
But
mode.
even when I play AVGN, which is our game, you know, we're responsible for it. Anything that's wrong with that, it's our problem.
Sure.
I play that on the Switch OLED handheld. I'm like, wow, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
I played it on the TV. It doesn't look. It doesn't have the problems that this game has, but it definitely. I would prefer to play it in handheld.
Well,
mode.
you know what? One thing though, I feel like maybe not anything, but like I feel like most games would probably look better like that, just for the fact that the screen is smaller than a TV would be.
Yeah.
When you shrink down all those pixels, it's gonna look better because more detail in those smaller spots.
No,
looks more
you're
impressive,
right. You're right.
you
And it's
know?
also like that screen is a very vibrant screen.
And it's a nice screen.
It's a nice screen,
right.
you know? But this game, like, I'm literally sitting at a table. Like, I could be in my house. The TV's over there. I'm sitting like this playing it
Yeah.
because it just feels good.
Yeah.
Which going to 3D, going to a big open world, you're like, can I do it on a handheld? What's that going to be like? You
And it's
know?
fine.
And it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. I played 98%. You know, of the 14 hours, I probably captured 4 hours of footage.
Okay.
And the 4 hours of footage I captured for this episode was the only time that I was on the TV.
Do you know if this game is like beatable?
It is beatable.
It is beatable, and
But you could keep going after
I was gonna
that.
ask that,
Yeah.
like beyond,
The story ends.
yeah. So you can do like the story mode part of it, but then you can just mess around, right?
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
endlessly.
And
I'm
they're going
sure.
to do like, you know, they're going to add shit.
DLC and more
all-
characters,
oh,
whatever,
yeah.
all that. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, Nintendo's finally like wise to it.
Right.
It only took them 20 years,
Right.
right? But they're wise to like what people want now.
That's good.
And the Pokemon Sword.
I mean, they
and-
released Metroid Prime, or I'm sorry, the new Metroid.
yeah,
So I mean, they're starting to
yeah,
get what people really want.
yeah. I mean, my God, we have a year where we have Pokemon Arceus, we have Metroid Dread. Like
Metroid Dread, thank you.
things are going really well over at Nintendo. Like I'll still like
F-Zero.
yeah, right.
F-Zero.
Yo, I'm gonna get in trouble, so I'm buying arcade machines for too many games because we want to have more arcade machines. And not far from here, it was only like 250 miles away. I'm making a joke here, but there was an F-Zero AX machine, full cockpit, motorized, full cockpit F-Zero AX machine.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I want to get this. And it was like,
With my GameCube, because I have
Yeah.
a modded GameCube, I have like the real F-Zero
Yeah.
AX like on the GameCube. I fucking love F-Zero GX and AX and everything. Yo, if you fucking got that, I gotta tell you, you know what? Ryan has a bunch of arcade machines. One of them that he has is The Simpsons, and The Simpsons is cool. Like that's a cool
Yeah.
game, but like it's a beat 'em up and it's a little like redundant. I love The Simpsons, but it's, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
kind of a redundant game. But yo, can I tell him?
yeah,
He just got a fucking Millipede machine, and I'm so excited about Millipede because I like love the trackball stuff,
Yeah.
and I would sit at Millipede forever
Yeah.
and play Millipede. Where Simpsons is like, you play it through, once you beat Mr. Burns, it's like I'll play it again in 6 years. You know, I'll
Yeah.
play it through, but like Millipede, I will sit and play like forever because
got
it's like a high score
brand
game.
new trackball.
Love it.
Yeah,
But also, yo, an F-Zero AX machine would be also fucking
here's the
awesome.
problem. There's two problems with it.
It's huge.
First of all, where do you put that?
Yeah.
Where do you put it? And the second problem is you really want two. Right?
Yeah, okay. Right.
Because you want
There's
to
so much room. Yeah.
Because you want to be able to race with
Yeah.
like
When you get in the Star Trek Voyager machine, that's what I really want to know.
God, never. You know what's funny? There is a comic store near here that has one. And you know that Voyager machine isn't doing anything for them.
No, oh God, they just wanted it.
They just wanted it.
Yeah.
And it's sitting in there because they have it. It's like, you know, you go over there the right time of day, you could get that for a song,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
You know, they're like looking at you know, you go towards the end of the month, they're like, Jim, we could sell more Magic cards this time. It's
if we
like,
got rid of, if they could use that.
they
space
could use that space,
like,
right?
Yeah.
I go over there. I'm like, hey, man, I'll take that off your hands,
Right,
dude. It was awesome. We were buying an arcade machine. I bought a Zaxxon, dedicated Zaxxon cab with stick.
Oh, that's cool.
That's cool.
I didn't know you got Zaxxon.
Yeah, and there was a Taito golf machine sitting there. And we were buying it. I don't know what we paid for the Zaxxon machine, but the lady was moving out of the house. And, I never played Taito golf, whatever. But it's like a nice cab. It was in great working order. I go to her, I'm like, I'll give you $100 for that to take it up out of here right now. Sold.
Oh, yeah?
Right?
Well, that's the thing with the arcade cabs is they're so heavy. Like, people just kind of like want them out.
Yeah.
Even if the thing's cool, they're
Right.
like, one day I'm going to have to move that thing.
Right.
So it's like...
Yeah, so
if you get the opportunity. It's
me and Kieran are like, it's snowing. It's like,
yeah.
It's literally snowing out.
Oh my God. So yeah, in like the tri-state area, there's like this big snowstorm. And like, I like message Ryan. I'm like, like, what are you doing? He sends me back a picture. He's like moving arcade cabinets in like a blizzard.
And I had
basically.
I had 5 arcade cabs in the back of the thing. It was like
everybody else was snowed in. You're like fucking going.
Yeah, no, it was good.
I got you way off topic of your game though. Did you?
Oh yeah, no,
else?
this game's fucking great. Pick it up. Like seriously, like everybody who's watching this has this game.
They already bought it.
They already bought it. They
Yeah.
beat it. They're further than me at it. Like,
not necessarily. Some of the people here, I bet you, say in the premiere right now, let us know. Are you like an old school guy and you don't play Pokemon? I bet there's probably some people that are more old school guys.
I do have one closing comment. Pokemon Go might be a better game than this. Might be. But like after there's so many years and all that, I'm so burned out.
Burned out on it.
Like I don't know how many vacations I went on. I have like over 100 shinies. I'm
Right.
like,
But you've spent so much time with Pokemon Go. I'm glad that you said that because you've done so much with that. That's been like a life event.
yeah.
It's hard to discount that. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, my favorite Pokemon Go memory was me and Justin were at a park when Pokemon Go first came out.
Right.
And there were all these kids in the park. And we have this blue van and we drove up like we were security. And Justin rolls down the door and he's like, "Hey, security." And like everybody in the park ran away.
Right. So that you could be the only one
playing Pokemon Go. Right? But that was the funniest thing. Yeah, that was my favorite experience because we didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
Like we didn't know that like like you weren't competing with other people to catch them.
Right.
Like
It was like learning it earlier.
back then it was like half broken and like crashing and all of that.
I remember like the first week of it, you'd be able to go down the highway and you could catch stuff because they hadn't fixed that yet.
Right.
And then eventually they made it to where if you're in the car, you like can't do it or whatever. Yeah.
You know what's funny? My wife submitted a Pokestop where our building is, and it finally got approved. So now we have a Pokestop where the building is. But it took like 2 years. Like she submitted that Pokestop like before COVID, before anything. And they finally approved it.
Were you happy you got it though?
Oh, I'm thrilled. Let me tell you. It's awesome. Yeah, so I love Pokemon. I love arcades. And this game's really good. You should play it. Should we play your game?
Oh God, no.
Okay, what do you got?
I'm bringing one of the worst NES games, period.
Okay.
And like for real.
Yeah.
Like this game is more flawed than most of them. And I'm even going to like some of the worst games. Like this is one of the worst games on the system. It's flawed in many, many, many ways.
Yeah.
Now I made a list.
So I just want to, while he's looking for that, I want to tell you a story. So my mom got me this game for Easter, which, I didn't get many games for Easter, but that year, I guess the bunny was in a game buying mood. So Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom for NES comes into my house. And I'm like, oh, wow, like the whip is cool in this game.
It makes a nice like whip sound.
And
effect.
it goes like pretty far and all of that, but it's really useless.
I mean, actually, you can actually whip things pretty well with it. That's one of the things that I don't have too much of a problem with. One thing I want, because you mentioned the whip. So Indiana Jones.
Okay.
Like this is him, right?
Oh, here he is.
And
love the hat.
Let's say there's 3 enemies, and they're here, and here. Because you just mentioned that the whip is bad.
Well, it's not bad. It's just like it's not gonna help you.
So if Indy's here,
yeah,
like if you whip, you can just do the whip straight down, and you will hit all 3 of these dudes.
Oh, wow.
With the whip.
Yeah,
that's actually one thing. The whip is bad in other ways, though. But like, there are some good things about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I have my phone. I made a list of some of the biggest problems with the game. So I'm gonna go through them. So the colors in the game are disgusting. Like the color choices of the levels, the walls, things like that. They're ugly.
Right.
Okay, that's one. So as you're going through the levels, you'll be trying to do something. Like you're trying to save one of the kids or something like that. And you're getting attacked by like a bunch of like dudes and then like a bat and like a spider will all come. And then you kill them all. You get your whip, you kill them all, they're all dead. And then immediately like 10 more come. And then 10
they
more
keep coming.
They just keep coming and coming and coming. There's too many enemies. The bats. The bats are the worst enemy in the game. And they're really bad for 2 reasons. Reason number 1 is the noises they make. They go like constantly.
Yeah.
And then the other reason they're bad is, let's say you're like walking along, you're on a ledge, and there's no bat around, there's nothing. It's just the screen. Indy's walking around, and then it flies in at 1,000,000 miles per hour and just fucking kills you.
Right.
Like you don't have a chance to whip them or anything like that. Sometimes the bats come in like kind of slower from a different angle, and you can whip them. But there's these occasional bats that just dart in. The bats are terrible. I got 9 more for you.
Oh wow.
These are all just reasons why
you love this game, don't you?
Oh, it's horrendous.
Yeah.
So when Indiana Jones gets hit by an enemy, there's a period where he starts spinning around and you can't move again until he stops spinning. And sometimes that will like fuck you up because like bad things happen while you're spinning.
Oh, I just have to say the jumping in this game is trash. Do you have the jumping on your list? Where's the jumping on your list?
You know what? The jumping's not on the list. It's probably because it's under controls, kind of.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about the jumping. So, I got a thing to say about the fucking jumping. Back over the board.
Okay,
so
let's go.
There's a part in the game where you have to jump on dragon heads.
Dragon heads.
This is later in the game. So
yeah, I never got to. I never got to the dragon heads.
Imagine
let me
there's
tell
like
you.
lava and all this stuff, and then Indiana Jones there's these heads that pop up like this, and you got to go from like you're Indian, you got to go from head to head to head, like you're jumping on stones kind of.
Yep.
But you got to wait for these dragon heads to come up. So you're talking about the jumping. So if you're Indiana Jones and you're standing right there on that, you could jump from this to that. That's fine. You can jump over there. And if there's more over here, you could jump that way. But if you wanted to jump, let's say you wanted to jump to that one, like that, you're not doing it.
No diagonals.
Also no up or down either. You're not jumping.
Oh.
I'm sorry, you can jump down, but you can't jump up. So you can't jump diagonally up. You can't jump straight up, and you can't jump diagonally to the side. But you can jump diagonally that way, or down.
Wow. Okay, so when I was a kid,
yeah,
what would happen is I would try to jump up, and I would just fall off the map.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
You can't do it. It's fun. Like the controls are fucked, and we're gonna talk more about it.
Yeah,
but we're gonna go down the list. So
okay.
Number 8 I had listed as Dink Dink. So there's these little spikes that come up as you're walking around. They come up and they go dink, and then they go back down in the ground, and then come up again, dink. And the entire time, they're all over. The entire time you're playing the game, dink, dink,
right,
dink, 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 dink. The whole fucking time. You know when you play Zelda and there's that heart sound effect when your heart's low? It's like that, but constant.
You love the sound in this game, don't you?
No. It's bad.
It sounds like it.
It's bad.
Yeah.
So the game is really cryptic. It's super cryptic. So I'll give you one example of how it's cryptic. There's a lot of examples of how it's cryptic, but let's say that you remember the idol from Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Yeah.
You have to get the idol in this game, and you use the idol to reveal hidden doors later in the game.
Okay. Oh,
But-
yeah, because there's like locked doors and
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but to even get the idol is behind a wall, and you don't know what wall it could be. It could be anywhere in the game. So I'm going to go to Zelda for a second. So if you're playing The Legend of Zelda and you have a bomb and Link's right there and he drops the bomb, you might blow up a thing and maybe a door will open. But in the original Zelda, there's no indication of, there's no crack on the wall
Yes.
or anything like that. So this game is the same way, where there's no crack in the wall, there's no indication. So you just have to bomb everywhere. But getting the bombs is not super duper easy because there's these little wooden things on the wall that you have to cut open with swords that you get from the kids. If
Yes.
you save a kid, you get the swords, you cut open the thing, and you can get a bomb. And then I think they give you 2 every time. So you know how like Link just drops the bomb on the position that he's standing in? He puts the bomb right there, it explodes. It's not like that. The bomb, you throw it and it throws in an arc.
Right.
And you can throw it in an arc diagonally or down or whatever. And a lot of times in the positions that you're in, it's very hard to hit the exact spots that you want to bomb. So you'll waste those bombs really quickly. But you're also bombing random spots
Right.
to find invisible doors.
Oh
with,
my God.
With a
So-
bomb that doesn't work well.
So I never realized this as a kid. Are the levels random or is it like a big map that you're like going around?
So the levels in this game are called waves,
Yes.
and you go from wave to wave to wave.
But you can like skip and things.
You can if you find like secret passages and secret doors and things like that. You can skip. You don't really want to skip too much because you need a lot of items. Like you need a full inventory. You need a lot of bombs. You need a lot of swords. You need a lot of guns to be able to handle the stuff that comes later in the game. So you don't want to skip too much because you got to. It's like a collectathon kind of.
Yeah.
But yeah, what's the question now?
I was just curious, like the game's always the same or is it different? Or...
Oh, the level. Okay, the maps are always the same thing. The maps don't change,
Right.
but the position of items changes.
Okay.
So one of the things that you need in the game is a skeleton key. And
Yeah.
you need this skeleton key because when you get to that lava level where you're jumping on the heads. So I'm gonna draw this out what this looks like.
Okay.
So all right, so this level looks like this. So this is I'm going to be talking about right now wave 9 in the game. So you get to wave 9 and it looks like this. There's like lava.
Yep.
And then I wish I had a black marker, but then there's an island in the middle. Okay? And then there's more lava. Okay? And then there's the area that you start on the bottom. If the marker wants to work. So you start down here, and there's a door down here.
Yep.
And then there's this thing in the middle, and there's a door here. And then there's the level up top, and then there's the stones. If you remember the movie, the whole movie is about the enemy, the bad guy in the game wants the stones because he's gonna do evil rituals or whatever, rip out people's hearts. He needs the
Yeah.
stones to rip out the hearts, I think.
Yep. That's a problem I have sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
It's very relatable.
I know, right?
So you're starting down here. You walk around. There's like kids in the cages and stuff, and you're saving them and you're getting items. You do all that. But if you have the skeleton key from an earlier level, you can go into this door and then skip all of this lava so that you only have to go through this lava. Because like I said, there's these little heads that you have to jump on. Now
So how do you jump up? Because you said you can't jump up.
you're not jumping up, you're walking up. Because what happens
Oh.
is when the monster head comes out of the water, it's like a dragon
You
head.
can like go on it.
You shoot it with your gun,
Oh.
and then it stays.
And if you don't have enough guns, you're just fucked.
You reset the Nintendo.
Cool.
Yeah. So because you need so many items to do this, like this takes a lot of like gunshots or bombs or weapons to be able to do this.
Yeah.
Or you can use the sword. You can't use your whip. You have to have like guns or swords. So you don't want to have to go through this area. So you're basically trying to like eliminate this area not having to do it, so that you only have to deal with getting across these stones.
Because you're dealing with a huge amount of resources. You need a lot of guns. You need a
Yes.
lot of things, and you might not have them. And then you might get through that part, but then you don't have.
And then
them
you
for
don't have
up
enough
there,
to get
and
there.
you're
right.
fucked.
So you need the skeleton key to jump from here
Yeah.
to there, so that you only got to get over a couple stones to get up to the top. And then you get the 3 stones, and then there's a door that can appear on either side, and then you go in the door, and then you go to wave 11. But we'll talk about that in a moment.
How many waves are there?
12.
Wow, so you're like right up there, man.
So at the point I'm at, I was at the end of like wave 11. I didn't quite beat it because I ran out of bullets.
So
on
you
wave
would
11.
so you would have been fine.
If I would have had more bullets, I would have beaten the game.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
That sucks. Control.
So I said number 6, item switching and controls. Okay. So here's one of the biggest problems with the game. So it's hard to explain controls, but imagine the NES D-pad. So if you push select and right, you bring up the sword. If you hit select and up, you bring up the bomb. If you hit select and left, you bring up the gun. And then if you hit select and down, it's your whip. That's how you select the items. Now, this game would work better on a more modern controller. I think that would have
you could,
more
like, flip through.
You would have more options
Yeah.
and stuff. But because it's an NES controller, you only have so many buttons. So the problem is that you're trying to like do regular controls too, like you're trying to like jump across a gap or whatever, and there's just not enough buttons to do all the things they're trying to do. So you're in the middle of trying to switch weapons. So I'm like, okay, I got to throw a bomb at this wall. And I just tried to throw the bomb, but I didn't put the input in right, so it's on the sword. So now I just wasted sword, and it's like, I just spent 5 minutes.
It wastes the sword even if you don't hit something.
So it depending on where you're at. No, if there's nothing around, it doesn't. So if you just shoot the gun, you can shoot it like forever. You have to actually hit a target. But sometimes if there's an enemy there,
You'll hit something.
You'll hit
maybe you
something
didn't
by
want to.
accident, and then you're wasting stuff. So
Yeah.
you can. So basically the way the controls work is terrible. And so when you're in like, it's like a platforming game too. So you're like jumping down from like level to level to level, but you can also jump across. But if you don't put the input in right, you can accidentally jump down instead of jumping across. It's just like, it's kind of hard to explain the controls, but they're
This
awful.
sounds like a blast, man. You know.
Yeah, it's great. So, shitty map. Oh, the map. All right, so the map.
At least there's a map.
But it's like you would rather there not be a map because it's like the worst map ever. So
Yeah.
it's like I don't even know how the fuck I'm gonna explain. I have to go back over the board for this. So
All right,
this
we're
is why
going
we
back
have
to the board.
This is why we have the board out. So
Yeah.
all right. So the map. So there's the little kids in the cages. Indiana Jones goes up to the cage. He rescues the kid, and they'll give you like an item or something. Sometimes the item could be a gun. It could be a sword. And sometimes it's a map piece. If you collect enough of the pieces of the map, when you get to wave 10, that whole thing that I just described,
Yeah.
and you get the stones, and then you go in the door at the top, whatever, you get to wave 10, and then a map comes up on the screen. And the map is for wave 10. I'm sorry, it's at the end of wave 9 is when the map comes up. So this map that comes up looks kind of like, let's say it'll be like that, like there'll be like a skull or something, there'll be like another X, there'll be like a man, there'll be like another skull or some shit like this, right? And then there's like a fucking big skull over here with a candle on its head.
What the hell?
I know. But this is just decorative. Like you're looking at that, and
Yeah.
that means nothing. The map is like this.
Well, I'm surprised they wasted that much memory on the cartridge.
They made it look like that, and the skull is like drooling. It's got like drool coming out of it for some reason.
That makes no sense.
It makes no fucking sense. Anyway, I think there's a skull in the movie that he's like drinks out of or something. Maybe they're trying to do that. I don't know. But anyway, so the map looks like this. Now, what this is. And if you didn't get all of the map,
you're like missing.
Like you might not even see that, like because that might be like blacked out because you didn't get that piece of the map, or you might not see.
Have you ever gotten the whole map?
I haven't yet. Anyway, so this map is one of 6 screens that can come up next.
Okay.
So this map might be the first screen you play through, or it might be the 6th screen you play through. So you have to,
Why?
because this is the way the game is, so, and it's randomized. So
Yeah.
so let's say that that's like the map. So if you played the game a bunch, okay, there's only one screen where there's a skull with like a man next to it or something like that. You're like, okay, I know that that's like the 3rd screen that's gonna come up is gonna be something that looks like that. So you have to play the game a bunch to know that. So what happens then is there's the 6 screens, and this is all wave 10 that I'm talking about. So it's like this. These are the 6 screens. So there's a blue screen, there's a orange screen, there's a cave, there's the purple screen. I think this is like maybe red or something. I kind of forget. And then this is like a dark blue down here. And that's just and when I say screen, it's like the whole game. It's like there's like
Multiple like scrolling
screens. Like when you're playing, what I mean by yes, when you're playing like Donkey Kong and you're saying like, oh, I'm on the pie screen or I'm on the barrel stage.
Right.
That's what I mean. These are all like different parts of the game. So what you're hoping for, like this is the first one that comes up. This is the second one that comes up. So
it's like RNG. If it's the first one and you have the map.
So what you're hoping for is that map is this.
Yeah.
Because it makes your life easier. So let's just, and then if that map is like, let's say it's the last one, let's say it's the 6th one, you got to make it all the way to that.
And you're shooting and wasting and
you're shooting and wasting and all that. And then there's another thing. So now you're on that. Let's say you got lucky and the map is that blue one. It's the first one and you got the right map and everything.
Sure.
So and then there was the X, right? And it's like, okay, the X was like there and your starting position's here. So Indy's like got to get over to there. So and there's like stuff going on, like enemies and stuff. If you die before you get to that X, and then the idol will like be there, and that's what the idol is for, because it'll show you where to bomb. That's the one thing that actually does show you where to bomb. So let's say you have the idol and you get there, you bomb it, you'll be able to then go to wave 11. But if you die before you get there, you lose those 3 stones. And if you don't have the 3 stones, the door doesn't appear. You can bomb the door, but it doesn't work. So you have to have the 3 stones before you can go in this door. So what happens is, let's say you have like 20 lives though. There's skulls all around the level. Like there's skull here, and a skull like here.
Yep.
So let's say you're walking up here, you're trying to get to the door, you know where it is, all that stuff. You die like right here. Now you lose the stones, and the stones now go into these skulls, and now you have to walk all around the level and get the stones back from all this, and which is very hard to do. And then if you get all the stones back, then you can make it back here, bomb this wall, and then you make it to level.
Do skulls
11.
exist on other screens?
On every one of the 6 screens, there's skulls. But
so if you don't have the map, you don't know which one it is. You're just fucked.
Well, let's say I drop the skulls on this screen, the skulls are going to be on this screen. It's not like the skulls are going to pop to one of the other screens. The skulls will be on the screen, so at least that's good. But it's like,
so let's say that you die on screen 2.
Yeah.
And the one that's the right one is screen 4.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you just have to go through the screens till you find the screen that has the gems on it?
Okay, so let's say if you're on screen 2 and you died, before you go to the next screen, you got to go get those stones back before moving on, because you can't.
Oh, the screen, they go on the skulls of the screen you died on,
Yes.
not the skulls of the screen where the thing is.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. So you have to make sure you have the stones on you, because you can't bomb that door unless you have the stones.
I just want to say the minecarts are bullshit, too.
I didn't even get to the minecarts yet. The minecarts are one of the worst parts of the game.
Yeah.
So like one of the things about the minecarts is that there's guys in the minecarts. You can whip the guys out, and then you jump in, and then you're going along. there would be another set of guys on another track, and they'll throw bombs at you, and then India will be like passed out in the minecart, and he'll just like crash into like lava or something, and then okay, there goes one of your lives. So you can say, okay, I'll try it again. You get back into the minecart, and now you're like, okay, I avoided the guys throwing the bombs, and you're going along the minecart. Well, for one thing, I mean, the easiest thing is that you can crash into something, obviously. But the other thing that can happen is the guys can come up from behind you and crash into you, too.
Oh, yeah.
So there's all these different ways that people can, like, crash into you. And another thing you have to do is you got to be able to jump out of the minecart, like, up or down. So you're always jumping out of the minecarts because and then there's conveyor belts all over the place. And the conveyor belts are all going in different directions. And here's the thing about the fucking conveyor belts. We're going back over. This is a lot of. This is why we have this here today, because I needed it for this.
Right.
So the conveyor belts.
Okay.
Are. So let's say this is like a conveyor belt, right?
Yeah.
This conveyor belt's going that way.
Right.
The conveyor belt that's right next to it, it's going that way. Then there's another conveyor belt. And it's like, it's going that way.
Right.
So you're walking with Indy. He's like going like all over the place, right?
Right.
And then there's fucking bats. There's fucking bats coming at you. And they're coming at you at 1,000 miles per hour. You're like fucking whipping. You're like trying to fucking whip the thing. And then you're like flipping all over the place. And then a guy will come and you'll get stunned. And he's like flipping around because I told you, he gets like stunned. And he'll fall off like into a big pool of lava. But what sucks about that is when you die in the lava, you might get sent back to like over here because you have to be, there's spots on the ground where you have to be standing on solid ground, and that's where he will regenerate. If you're on a conveyor belt, he doesn't regenerate on the exact spot on the conveyor belts. So then you have to like get back in the minecart, make it all the way back over to here, because you might be trying to bomb a location that has a skeleton key or an idol or something that you need for later. So it's like you gotta get to these areas and get these keys and these idols and shit. And it's like, it's really fucking hard to do. And then the other terrible thing about this is there's another big aspect to this, is that all around here, there's like lava stuff, right? So as this is going on, you also can't touch the lava. And if you're like a pixel of your fucking foot touches it, you're dead. And then you're sent back here. Better get back in the fucking minecart. Oh, somebody bombed me and I fell out into lava. Okay, I set back here. And it's just like, yeah.
You know what I used to do when I played this game? I would get as high as possible and just jump and hope I landed somewhere that was good.
And sometimes that happens, but a lot of times you'll just end up hitting lava, and then you're like, okay, I'll try it again. I'll jump a little bit more over. But the thing is, when you're a kid and you're playing this, you don't know any of this shit. You don't know that you have to get the skeleton keys.
No.
It does tell you on the screen. You know what it says? On the screen, it'll say, skeleton key is hidden, or it'll say hidden key is hidden somewhere, but you don't know where. Even if it tells you, oh, there's a key hidden on this level. Yeah, there's this whole huge level with conveyor belts and ladders and all this shit. How are you going to... There's no way to know where. You just have to go around bombing shit. And that's probably where Nintendo Power comes into play. They probably expect you to do
even
that.
then, there's not enough... They didn't print enough pages in Nintendo Power to
explain all this. So I got more. So we talked about the monster heads and why those are bullshits. The lava, I just mentioned that. The way the bombs aim. Oh, bad RNG. Oh my God. So like, so like I said, oh my God. So there's the skeleton keys and there's the idols. Let's talk about the skeleton keys for a second. So let's say the skeleton keys appear on wave 7.
Yes.
And on wave 8 are the idols.
Yeah.
So on wave 7, you go and you're like, okay, this is the wave that has the skeleton key. Now, I just turned on the game. I made it to wave 7. I'm like, okay, I know a spot where a skeleton key is. So you go to that spot with a skeleton key, and then you bomb the wall, and then nothing's there. And then you're like, did I do it right? And then you bomb again, and then you're like, nothing happened. And you're like, all right, I guess the skeleton key's not there.
Right.
There's 4 spots on wave 7 that the skeleton key can be in. So then you go to the next location. You say, okay, this is area 2 that I know the skeleton key is going to be in. You bomb it. There's nothing there. You're like, all right, I'm gonna go to the next location in the level, and it's all this bullshit's going on. You know, it's bats and enemies and all this.
Yeah.
And then you get over, and then there's like a bridge, and then you bomb it, and then a door opens, and it's like, oh, I got the skeleton key. So let's say that you die though, and it's like a game over, and you got to reset. because it's a hard game. When you reset,
It
next
re-rolls
time,
everything.
it re-rolls everything. That skeleton key is gonna be. It could be in any one of the other doors, and it's the same way for the idol. So the RNG. I mean, the Who Framed Roger Rabbit's like that, and Friday the 13th like that. A lot of these games are like that, but here's where the RNG gets bad. Is sometimes this game is also glitched.
Right.
So this is one of the things that happened to me, and I have it on video. So I get to the door that has the idol.
Yeah.
I have all the shit I need. I see the door, all that stuff. I throw the bomb at it. The door appears, and I see the idol.
Yeah.
I'm like, there it is. I'm gonna get it. Indy walks up to the door, and the door disappears.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, wait, what? Oh, maybe the game glitches. Let me do it again. I back up Indy. I take the bomb. I throw it at the door. Door blows up. The idol appears again. I'm like, oh, there it is. I'll get it now. I walk up. Door disappears again.
Oh.
Because the game is glitched. And another way it's bad is that later in the game, I'm talking about how you get to the later waves and all those screens and all that.
Right.
So another thing that can happen is if the RNG is bad, it can put the exit to the last wave, or to wave 11. It can put the exit in a place that you can't get to. Like it'll be.
So
like,
you play the whole game. You went through all the shit, and the exit's in the top left-hand corner. Where
it's like on this. It's in this area that you just can't get to because it spawned it. Like
sweet.
Yeah, there's like shit like that.
Yeah.
There's more with the skull heads.
Have you
too,
seen
and
video of anybody else ever beating this game?
There's people who speedrun it. I saw a guy beat it in 5 minutes. But
Fuck him.
What I can say,
no, I'm kidding.
what
But
I can say is most games that people speedrun,
yeah,
there's usually 1,000 playthroughs of like somebody beating like Battletoads.
This is like a
or,
small.
This is
group.
like I've only there like not very few, like probably under 50 people have done this. Probably like 10 people.
That's amazing.
Like, very few people
Yeah.
have like actually done this, and I understand why, because who the fuck would want to like put up with this?
Yeah.
And even those experts, the speedrunners that
They're
play
still
this,
dying.
I listened to a playthrough of it, and they talk about this. It's not just me. They're talking about how that you can do. They don't like to speedrun, especially in front of an audience, because there's so many things that can go wrong. That it's like it's not a good game to do because of the RNG. And
So I don't mean this.
yeah.
I don't mean this in a good way, but I kind of mean it in a bad way. Is
Yeah.
this one of the hardest games ever?
It's, you know what? A lot of people in my chat were talking about this, and it's, I think, I don't know if I'd go that far, but it's definitely very underappreciated as one of the hardest NES games. I'll say that. I've beaten Battletoads.
Yeah.
I've beaten, all these Snake
Right.
Rattle and Roll and
Right.
Adventure Island. This is up there with that shit, if not harder. And I'm going to tell you why, like, because people be like, oh, well, why would you even fucking play this game anyway? In the games that are designed badly, I like overcoming things like the glitches and whatever, because that only makes the game harder.
Right.
When I play Battletoads, I can't think of a glitch in Battletoads. I mean, there's probably something, but like Battletoads is a pretty solid
Right.
game.
Yeah.
Snake Rattle and Roll, also one of the hardest games I played. That's like a solidly programmed game. Adventure Island, maybe the hardest NES game I've beaten. I can't really think of anything that's like, it's hard, but it's not like bullshitty. This is a hard game just because it's a hard game, but also on top of it because it's like glitched out and bad controls and stuff.
Right.
So it's like you're taking a game that would be as difficult as one of those games, but then adding an extra layer of difficulty because of how shit it is.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is definitely not a game I recommend unless you're like some kind of weirdo masochist like me that likes these kind of weird challenges.
I like hearing you talk about them. Like,
Yeah.
it's really interesting when it comes down to it. It's kind of like I remember, when I used to talk to like friends on the bus or whatever about an NES game. It's like this is the kind of stuff that you get from
Right.
that like deep knowledge of going through it. Like
Yeah.
I think modern games, a lot of modern games, we just kind of like they're made to be beaten.
And games are so, I mean, they've had the luxury of, like, this was 30 years ago or whatever. We've had the luxury now of so many years of experience with games that you don't find games this broken usually anymore. Then again, there was that game Atlas that came out a few years ago. That was one of the most broken things I've ever seen. Wow. But like, you remember it was trying to be like Ark?
Yeah.
I don't know what that game's like now, but like the week it came out, it was like a broken piece of shit.
Wow.
People were like spawning like in the middle of the ocean under the water and stuff.
Oh man.
Anyway, so that's our episode of Talk About Games this week. I know I did an Indiana Jones game before. I brought another Indiana. I won't do any more Indiana. And by the way, I did not fucking play this game because there's a new Indiana Jones movie being made. It has nothing to do with that. It's just the game I ended up playing. That's it for this week, guys. Catch us on Patreon if you want to do that. We do a lot of extra content on there. And catch us also on wherever podcasts are heard.
And make sure to like and subscribe. And if you're in the premiere, leave a comment because it's the best way for us to see how you're feeling about the episode.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Bye.
Bye. I have so many things I want to talk about. I'm like going to get off track here.
This is the case of a game that was far more popular in Japan than it was in the United States.
They never went to Mordor. What are you talking about?
This is kind of weird.
But there's real detail. There's like wiring underneath.
You know, they're one and done. That's
Yeah,
it. Sold out. So they're super hard to come by.
You heard him, guys. Bring it back. Here we go again. Round two.